I love talking weather. I love meteorology. I love I love fundraising more. Let's talk about fundraising. What do you
Let's
say?
do that. Hey, episode
Hey,
number 100. You guys,
episode
100 episodes that
100.
we've done. It's hard to believe that we hit the big
Where's
century mark. So
yeah, I should have
uh,
written a card
make
out.
sure you stay to the end and
We have
win
some very
because
special
it might be a
giveaways.
special giveaway today because we're happy
Yes.
100th episode. Thanks so much, Taylor.
Special. Yeah,
Special.
thanks, Taylor. That's awesome. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming back and everyone
yeah.
for everyone for tuning
You
in.
know, we had so many questions and so many people talked about last week in engagement, and
Yeah.
we really kind of just hit silent auctions, and we just kind of took questions. So we thought, let's just dig in a little deeper. We're going to give you 7
Too good.
things that we think, and we'll put them up for discussion. We'll talk about them that
Mhm.
we believe that will help you to raise more money in your silent auction.
Yeah.
Mark West is here today.
My
Our brother from another mother,
Yep.
coming to you from New
HGA.
Braunfels, Texas.
Team HGA.
Trevor Nelson, my partner, brother in crime, out of
And
Redding,
moderator.
California.
And
Jason
moderator
Ledlow,
today.
Oklahoma
Yeah.
City, America, crossroads of America.
Okay,
And
okay.
we just were so thankful that you all came and that you're going to spend and take your valuable time. We'll be out of here in an hour. I promise you.
Yep.
For those of you, this is your first time here, we start on time, finish on time, and we'll get you out of here within the
Yeah,
hour.
we party
And,
pretty hard.
we do.
during during the whole thing. We
So
party pretty hard.
let's crank it off. So I'm just going to throw this out here. All these steps, we wanted to kind of be proactive and everything. And I want Mark, we're going to put this up there and let Mark give us some comments because Mark does a lot of events. He's in a lot of events. I've been doing it for a long, long time, but I don't really see events that much anymore because I've retired from that side of it. But we've seen a lot of stuff, and we know the other thing is we have information from hundreds of clients that are doing these things all over the country. So we compile all this data and we want to just give this out. So that's, don't take it as the gospel, but just as a really solid guideline. Okay. That's how we want you to look at this. Doesn't mean that
mildly
it's
opinionated.
everything you have to do is there or something that you're doing is necessarily wrong. That's not what this is. Just a guide of information that we've found to help things go really well. So on the countdown, number 1,
Yep, I love that one.
limit your items to no more than 1 item per
Less
20 guests.
is more.
Is-
Less
Yeah.
is
Do
more.
you think that's a good? Do you think that's a good? I mean, I know that's the number you came up with, Mark, but have you found that to really be a good
barometer?
gauge of that? So, in other words, if you've got 400 people, 40 items, is that right?
I would.
400 people would be 80 items. Is that right? Yeah.
400 people. We have 5.
20.
We'd have 20. Yeah.
Yeah. 80 items. Yes. Less is more. Always. You don't want your silent auction area to look like the Saturday morning flea market with just tables and tables and tables full of stuff. You dilute the power.
So this number's not right then. It ought to be, if you've got 400 people coming, you need to have, what do you think? You're saying 80, no more than 80 items or 40 items?
Let's see. 1 to 10 would be 40.
That math works out to be 20 items for 40.
Yeah, you need more than that. Yeah, I would say somewhere around
1 per 10. 1 per 10. 400 people. We have 40 items.
Yeah,
What do you think of that, Mark?
yeah. 1 to 10. So for 400 people, I would say somewhere around 40 to 60 items.
Okay.
And
So
are you
what
talking about the silent and the live
we
together?
jumped out
the
there and
silent
said, don't
auction.
take this as the
Silent
gospel. You're knowing why, because we just don't, we're literally not making up as you go, but we knew it was 40 to 60. So yeah, no, this is just for silent auction. We're
Just
just
a silent
talking
auction.
silent auction.
Good. Just
Here's
want to
the thing.
clarify.
And this is a guideline.
Good question, Julie. I had the same one.
What we don't want you to do is we've got, these things take a lot of time. And we were talking to somebody, I think last time, and they said they had 200 items in their silent auction. 200. That is a lot of stuff. I don't care how many people you have. It's just so much stuff to do it. And here's the way I want you to think about people. Okay. If you've got 400 people there, that's likely you've got 200 checkbooks buying units. And that's the way you want to think about that. Because it's not, I mean, of course, my wife's got a mind of her own and her own deal, and she's going to do what she wants to do. but typically we still buy stuff together. Now she knows she can do whatever she wants to do, but we still do that. And I'm saying, I think most couples are that way. It's rare that you're going to find that they're going to go off and, completely be separate
wife
up
never tells me no.
of their buying.
She never tells me no. Pretty lucky.
Yeah,
So,
I
there you
would
go.
say,
And Taylor's just saying we had 200 items and, they didn't get all the value. So my point is we want to maximize the dollars because at a certain point you have a diminishing return.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to say, right, Mark?
right,
Yeah.
yes.
So there's a diminishing return. So you've only got so many dollars, so much time, so much money. And after a while,
So much
everything
space,
just
so
becomes
many
on a
volunteers.
discount. It's
Yeah.
just
So
a
much real
discount.
estate. Yep.
So that's why we want you to think about. So 10 items, I put down 20 because I wasn't doing the math right. It's my fault. I'm not very good at math, except when I'm counting. So this is really the way you just to think about as a guide. If you wind up having 55 items instead of 40, that's fine. If you have 60, we're talking about that. But really be thoughtful about it because we're going to give you a couple more things. So any other things that you want to throw in, Mark, Trevor, before we move to number 2?
I just want to let folks know that I'm moderating any questions. We'll get to all of them. There was a lot of questions last week.
Yeah, and if you've got something different you believe or you think, this is the great place to put it. But what we're
Let's
saying
have a conversation. Yep. Q&A at the bottom. Chat
more
on the
and
side.
more-
I'm going to moderate.
less is more. And
With
and
everything.
And more
everything.
valuable.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not just like a buzz. That's just not a buzz term or a buzz phrase. You know? So it's less is more all the way across the board. We are preaching that top to bottom with everything we say about fundraising these days as well. What we mean by that is less words, shorter messaging, all that. Well, that bleeds into the silent auction, right? So we don't want junk, right? We don't want a big pile of 200 items and we've got a piggy bank, that's a ceramic piggy bank, and people already have stuff like that. So being deliberate, being thoughtful, and being very, very thoughtful with how you're using that valuable real estate, i.e. your silent auction table, that's what we're imploring folks to do. Yeah. So,
Becky had a question. She's asking about, would you do that over all of them? I would say yes.
Yes.
So
because it's creative. Yeah.
Here's another example. Okay. Let's say revenue generators. Revenue generator means, your silent auction's a revenue generator. Your live auction's a revenue generator. Your fund and needs a revenue generator. Your raffle's a fundraising generator. Maybe you're doing
wine pool,
tails, or wine pool.
Last champion.
Each one of those.
Heads or tails.
Our recommendation, and Mark, we talked about this a lot. We like to stick around 5 as a maximum. Maybe you could do 6. You might just do 4. Maybe just 3.
It's rock solid.
Less is more.
Yeah.
And 30 years ago, doing charity auction, it wasn't anything unusual to have 15 or 20 items in the live auction. Yeah. Because you could hold people's attention longer back then.
And you made a great point. Yeah.
Even as much as 2 or 3 years ago, we would say, maybe 10 was kind of the maximum, maybe 10, 12. Yeah. And now it's like 8, 10, 5, 6, somewhere around there because of time and attention. We've got the TikTok mentality. It's just everybody's just
keep saying really attention. Fast. You keep saying attention. And that's the point. We're vying for people's attention and trying to inspire bidding, right? So Becky's point about separating things, super silent, vacation station, champagne and liquor auction. I think it's awesome. It's super creative. A lot of times people haven't seen that before. It's bright, shiny. It's novel. You can never underestimate the power of novelty. But once again, with the less is more, we're vying for people's attention. And their attention spans, for lack of a better explanation, are short right now. Consumers are very savvy right now. Consumers are donors. So that's why
they walk around with an instant price checker right here. So if you're having commodities, what the price is.
Exactly. So being creative, like Becky just spelled out, I think it's a fantastic idea, and being very, very choosy with those items to inspire bidding and gathering that attention. Because you have too many items, last point, sorry. Too many items, paralysis by analysis, we call it. You got 200 items in a 200-person room. That's going to be paralysis by analysis. There's too much to look at. It's too much. If you
think about what do people want to do, they don't want to sit there and look at items the whole time. They want to have a cocktail. They want to talk. They want to visit. Network. They want to see and be seen. Exactly. Now they do want to bid, and they're going to go and look at stuff, and they're going to do that.
Sure, it's fun.
But we don't want to you don't want to fatigue where they can't get by everything, and there's too much stuff. Okay. I put this down, set a minimum of $200. This is a guide. Again, I just picked the number because you need to really take how much money do you want to make? That's really where it comes down to. And one of the things that I find as we're doing these coaching sessions and visiting with people, even people who've been doing this for a long time, I'll say, well, how much do you want to make? Well, that's a really good question. I don't know. Okay. So let's make up a number. What would be a good number? And then we start from there and we work backwards. Okay.
Yep. Perfect.
So I want to make sure that, if I know that I need to have somewhere between 50, let's just say I've got 400 people coming, I've got 200 couples, 200 checkbooks, and I need to raise $20,000 in my silent auction. Okay. That kind of tells me what my number is. So, just remember the math, $20,000 divided by 40 items, that's $500 an item. Maybe it's not really, maybe I need to bump that up a little bit and change my minimum a little bit. Okay. Cause we're not talking about average. We're talking about minimum. So what I'm trying to do is set a threshold so I don't use that valuable slot. I want you to think of these are opportunities of fundraising, just like the live auction. You don't want to put something in your live auction that's not going to bring very much money, because you need that time and attention. It's like your commercial. It's a commercial at the Super Bowl. This is your Super Bowl. Okay.
Yes. Love that. It's valuable real estate.
So Mark, I mean, do you have some thoughts on that? Am I off, or, is that kind of what you're seeing with the clients and stuff you're working with?
So whatever your number is, you need to have a good minimum. Whether it's $200 or $100, whatever, take into account your donor base. Just don't just throw stuff out there because, hey, it's free money, because it's not. A silent auction is a lot of work. We talked about overwhelming your donors at the event with too many items. Well, you can also overwhelm your volunteer base. Because you're gonna have to store all this stuff. You're gonna have to have a mechanism for handing it out after the event. You've got to have room to display it at the event. Somebody's going to have to set all that stuff up.
And there's a cost in time. There's a cost. If you've got
Absolutely.
this kind of helps you, Becky, Becky asked the question, about what if, somebody wants to keep the silent auction accessible to a wide range of people. I've got a lot of thoughts on that, and we'll come back to that here in a little bit,
sure.
but let me address it on this point. It takes valuable time and money, okay? Or time, which is the most valuable asset that you have. Staff, volunteers to do all this stuff, just like Mark said. So if you've got all that time and you're spending all this hours and you're doing it for a $20 item, you have the same amount of money tied up in everything. So if it takes, if that person has to go drive and pick it up, or they've got to take it from the office to the event place, and they've got to go run it over there. And I know everybody goes, well, it's just one more thing. But if you start thinking about it like a business, let's think about this like a business. Okay.
And put more value on your time. Yeah.
There's a cost to it.
Yeah.
And, factor that cost in and say it costs, if your cost is $10 in time and effort for every item, and it's probably more than that. It's probably in the $20 to $30 per item range. I'm just going to tell you that's probably what it is.
So $20 item, the $20 item takes just as much time to process as a $200 item does.
I was going to say,
and here's another thing too. Do you want the people that have bought $200 items having to stand in line while people check out for $20 items? That's not
effective.
Very good donor relations there. Here's what I would do. If you want to have something accessible for other attendees there, set up a giving board where they can go and they can donate $20 or $40 or whatever it is, and get their name on a sticker and put on that board, so people can see that they donated. Give them an opportunity to participate that way.
Love that.
But I just
Well, I think the golden ticket, for instance, like a raffle option or a drawing option like that, is
Right.
kind of a no-brainer. It's a
Something
low,
like
it's a low
that.
entry point.
Do something, where
Yeah.
your time to reward is going to be a lot better. Like Mark's
Absolutely.
saying, if you do the giving board and you put that up there, it takes, we're talking about maybe an hour or two of time to get it all put together and set up, and then one person to operate it, versus a silent auction, which takes a lot. Everybody here that's ever done one knows it takes a lot of man hours to do one. It just does. And that's our whole thrust of this conversation, is to take this from being a net zero to a net positive. Because if you took all the time and you added up all the hours that nobody ever wants to, you would see that you were losing money.
Yeah. I thought the
Time
same
you take
thing.
staff,
Taylor.
volunteer time, and all that effort, you're losing money on a side. Most people are losing money on silent auctions, except for the ones that say, we're here to make money for our mission. We're here to fund our mission.
I love that.
Taylor's right on track there.
Yep, absolutely. Mark, what's the buy-in for like heads or tails? What's the typical buy-in that you set up for Last Champion, just as another revenue enhancer? With
from what I see for heads or tails, it's usually $20 or $25.
So there you go.
What about Last Champion?
Well, Last Champion, we always do that at the $100 level.
That's a different. That's a whole different animal.
That's a whole different thing.
I'm just talking about price point.
Yeah.
But anybody can participate in that. But
yeah, cool.
The heads or tails is, frankly, I'm not a huge fan of heads or tails.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
It takes too much time, and you just don't even you really don't make that much money off of it.
I'm learning something.
We'll come back to those. I don't want to get too far off the beaten path here, because I want to.
We're just talking about low price point. That's all.
Yeah,
just throw a low price point out there.
Here's the way that some people go, well, what about all those things I get donated? And Mark and I, brought this up last week, and I want Mark to just say that again. Mark, you were talking about there was a gift card bundle where they bundled everything together.
Oh yeah, you can do that for sure. Yeah,
and how it will bring more money this way.
Yes, for sure. Well, and once again, you don't want to sell $20 gift cards individually. It's just not it's not efficient. So bundle things together. You can bundle them by theme. For example, if you got several restaurant gift cards, you can call that dinner once a week package or something, and put several gift cards in there for that. So there's lots of ways. You can even do a version of a wine pool with gift cards if you've got a lot of them. You can just have a board, and people give you $20, and they get to pick a gift card off the board, that's in an envelope, and whatever it is.
So back to, but on the silent auction, like one of the things that I saw, they took a bunch of gift cards, and instead of putting all the gift cards out there where people tend to give value based on what the retail is, they took them all, bundled them up, and they said, feed a student for a year.
I love that.
Hungry college kid food fund or something like that. They kind of had something. It was probably had $400 or $500 worth of gift cards in, brings like $1,000.
Yeah.
Because it was convenient. It was convenient. It was marketed that way. And it's just like Becky said, they used it as a huge hit. Our point is, this is how you can take all the donations, because a lot of times you guys have people that just start donating stuff, and people are bringing it in, board members, committee members. Hey, I got these. There's somebody that's really good at it and they like to. They go and bring all these things in, and they lay it out for you. Well, how do you do that? So, and I use this a lot. Nobody wants to buy a trip to the dentist. Well, take your the dentist trip, your spa card, the pedicure, manicure, take all that and call it the gym membership. Take all those things and put it all into one, bundle it all together, and then call it a wellness package. It'll bring more money. I promise you. I mean, it just will. And all these things, you tend to get this stuff put together like this. It just does a whole lot better. So my point is, this is a way to take those items, compress them into time where people are going to be more excited about it because they got all this stuff. Call it the mystery bag. I think that if you put mystery, call it the mystery box or something like that, put some stuff together. Nobody, whatever you got to do. But anyway, that was the deal. So I want to get right on to the next one.
Calvin had a good comment over here. He does a restaurant raffle, usually worth $2,500 to $3,000,
I think that's
and they
awesome.
generate over $6,000
Yeah.
each year.
Yeah, I think
You know,
Every
you can do
time.
that with your gift cards.
Okay.
Love that.
This is one that I think that it's a whole lot of stuff on here. Let me see if I can make this where everybody can read it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing very good here.
Okay.
Well, the whole idea.
Oh, here you go.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh,
it's
instant
not.
win. I love
Yeah.
the instant win.
Well, the idea is use a minimum starting bid, set bidding increments, and use an instant win price of double the retail value. At least it should be at least double the price, could be more. And oh, here's what the deal is. I got too much. Somehow my thing didn't work very well. You know, you wait till 100 to have all these stuff screw up.
Taylor, I was trying to find the episode. Mark went over
Yeah.
what was like 40 revenue enhancers.
Mhm.
Mark, where
Yeah,
you
we'll send that to you,
discussed-
Taylor.
Yeah, where you discussed heads or tails, last champion,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So we have a whole we have a whole deck of that kind of stuff, Taylor. So I was just trying to copy and paste that video for you so you could check it out.
This is a strategy with your silent auction that you should do on every item. The thing, if somebody goes priceless, they'll put priceless on the value. You'll see it, and then it has a starting bid of $10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not priceless if it's worth starting bid at $10.
Yeah.
If you've got something that's priceless, it should start at 1,000. I mean, just to give you an idea. So put something. So this is a way. An instant win is not a value. It's not a price. It's not what it should do or anything like that. It's a buy it now price. Now we say instant win because buy it now is trademarked, but instant win. And so let's just say that you've got something in you've got a basket, and you think back to the whole food basket. You know, you've got a bunch of these cards, and there's $300 in cards there. Put an instant win of $1,000 on it. Put a starting bid of 100 with $20 increments on it, and let it go. You know,
I think it's awesome.
Most everybody should be using software. All these numbers will translate right into your software. So that way, when somebody pulls it up and they start pushing the button, that way they've got the bidding, okay? And they can do that. A real simple rule. Mark, I'd like to hear what Mark has to say on just a simple rule for setting that bidding increment.
So you want to set your bidding increments so that you, for example, reach your whatever your goal is for that item. If it's full retail or whatever it is, you want to set your bidding increments so you hit that within probably 7 to 10 bids.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that works out to, you know, you don't want to go too small, you don't want to go too large, but you want to be able to accelerate and quickly get up to the full value of whatever that item is within, I would say, 6 to 8 bids, maybe something like that, maybe 10 at the most. Okay. So if you're starting at $100 and it's a $500 item, then you would probably want to set your bid increments at you know, I'd say at least $50 for that, so that you can hit that top number quickly, and then set your instant win at $1,000.
And the whole thing is because that $300 that nobody knows that number except for you. That's a mystery. That's a mystery to everybody else. All anybody else sees, and I probably would, if I had $1,000, I probably wouldn't start at 100, maybe $250, $300, something like that, because it's all perception. You put an instant win of $1,000 and somebody sees it's 300, they're going to go, oh, that's $300, bam. And then people just keep bidding on stuff, because what we want them to do is to stop bidding on value and start bidding on mission impact. And we'll talk about that more. That's one of our steps. So we'll hit that in a second. Any questions on minimum bids, setting increments, and instant win prices? Does anybody here do that now? Is everybody doing that now? Just give a hand raise. Just give a hand raise up there on the, you know, Calvin said yes. Good.
Mark, I want you to take the time
bunch
to
of people.
explain,
That's fantastic.
The higher value items and what have you.
Do what? I'm sorry.
Taylor had a great question about would you recommend eliminating stating the value, and we're saying replace it with the instant win.
Yeah.
Yes, do not
Yeah.
state the value, because you're just limiting. You're putting a cap on the bidding.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to bid over more than what it's worth. They don't want to overpay.
Yeah.
So
That's
you don't have to do not put the values on your items. Now, at checkout, when you give them their receipt, you can put the fair market value on that receipt for tax purposes. But if you're, and there's some software out there that forces you to put a value in.
Mm-hmm.
If you can turn that off, or so it's not displayed some way, somehow, because this is where you're strangling your silent auction. You're putting a lid on the top.
We know somebody that said they put, and they just do it by policy, and they calculate they'll get 50% of retail. They give up so much money by doing that, and that's just what they do, 50%. So in other words, if they go get they could go get $50,000 of great merchandise, of great items, of great stuff. Because of the way they position it, they'll only get $25,000. Totally just shoots their big toe off right off.
Money on the silent auction table.
Yeah, I mean, you're just giving money back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
okay. Well,
I want to answer the question. Somebody asked the question on the increments. Here's a couple of rules for the road. And I see people do things, especially with software. Mm-hmm. They'll get off on this. Keep everything in good, even, countable numbers.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a $37 bidding increment.
We don't like percentages like that.
It needs to be 10,
way.
20, 25,
easy
50,
to quantify.
100, 100, 250, 500, or 1,000. If you keep in standard increments, people can think of it and they can count that way. They know it. It's only because what you're wanting them to think of, it's only $50 more. It's only another $100. Yeah. It's only another $250. It's only another $500. But if it's only another $37.62, they got to think too much. We don't want people to think at all. We want them to just react.
We want them to bid.
Okay. This is Pavlov. The bell rings. We want them to go ding. Oh, time to eat. Okay. Ding. Time to bid.
Bid again. Yep,
ding.
exactly.
It's time to bid. Yep. Because they can it's no different than auctioneering. I mean, I don't count, we don't count anything but easy numbers because I need you to understand what my next number is. But it's a psychology of it. So we just want to be able to react, not to think too much. Okay. This is a fundraiser mission drive. That's what we're trying to do. This isn't where we're trying to go to Walmart and find the best buy.
I'm going to piggyback on that. And then Brianna, questions about, values and bidding increments and stuff like that. Well, we're in the consignment space. So let's just talk about consignment. We've got a $2,000 reserve item in the silent auction. Mm-hmm. We're going to suggest that you put the starting bid at $2,500. And for an item like that, let's just say it is worth, $4,000 or more. We're going to say $100 bid increments with something like that. We have events where there's going to be items that have a $9,000 reserve price. So we're going to say the opening bid's going to be $11,000 or $10,500, and we're going to set the bidding increments at $500 because it's just a higher value. This is just bigger numbers. Do you guys agree with that? I mean, that's kind of our approach with consignment. So why not do that with your donated items and other items as well? Just make it quantifiable. Have the bidding increment, fellas. You agree with this, right? Have the bidding increment match, where we're at. You know what I mean? If you got a $2,000 reserve price, we're not going to put it at $20.
If it's under $4,000, probably $100 at $100 a pop. If it's over $4,000 to $8,000, you can make it at
you can do 200, 250.
I would say $250.
Make it
match. And then anything above that, is $500.
Kelly lied about the value thing. Kelly, you're off the hook. The instant win thing is really cool, y'all, because of the psychology it creates. It's different than value. It provides a ceiling, if you will, but it's not a limiting number. Folks can actually buy it at that number. People do buy it at that number. You'd be surprised. But the instant win value or instant win price point or price tag, super helpful from a psychology standpoint as well.
Because we're not here trying, because the reality is this is a charity event. This isn't the discount bargain bin. We expect people to pay a premium. They expect to pay a premium. If somebody's there buying something and they're just doing it because it's a discount, then we're not doing something right.
Shopping
we're not
and shopping and giving. It's a big difference between shopping and giving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kelly, I want to just hit your question real quick on that about the software and the value. We don't make any claim to tell you what you should do. Talk to your accountant and figure that out. Nobody cares on the receipt, but there is on our software, there's two things that they get. They get the receipt when they pay for something, and then they get a giving statement. And the giving statement is separate from that. And that's what has the retail value of what they received, and then what their deductible expense is. Yeah. Yep. But I don't want to make a claim of one thing or another, because states could be different. I'm not going to try to say I'm an expert on the tax code, because I'm not. So we just don't want to give you any advice on that, because it could be, maybe we're wrong. But
Jeopardy.
From the standpoint of just what it is, as Trevor pointed out, instant win is just a number for an idea.
I think it's a lovely psychology point.
It's psychology. Yeah.
And Julie, thanks so much for the feedback on that. I think it's really huge. Make sure you're really dialed with your bidding increments. If you want to talk to us about that and have us, strategize with you, awesome. We give bidding sheets. We have bidding sheets available for a lot of the folks that we work with as well. If they're using paper, awesome. But it's also a guide if they are using software, right? So the bidding sheet doesn't need to be downloaded, printed, and used. As a matter of fact, we recommend using software, of course, right? But it's a cool guide. You're using this item, to Costa Rica. Here's the opening bid amount. Here are the bidding increments. Here's the instant win. And then I got to say it. Oh, you're going to talk about consignment to Supercharge or silent auction. So I'll wait on.
It was on the list, bro.
Wah, wah, wah. Sorry. Yeah. No, good, Julie. I wasn't disparaging you, Julie. We have bidding sheets available for our clients because they use bidding sheets.
Oh yeah, no, it's
yeah. No, it's all good. It's all fun. But
the reason we say supercharge your auction,
make a lot of
because money. Just what he says, there's a lot of money to be made. The days of, well, I just don't want to put it in the silent auction because it doesn't bring anything. Well, that's why we're talking about this. Take this from being the discount bargain bin and letting everybody play it. This is the thing for this is the things so the volunteers can bid on stuff. We're not here to do that. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for just a second. She was asking what number 5 is. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to number 5 here in just a second. Sorry, I missed it. I'll come back to number 5.
Oh, you skipped it.
I skipped it. I'll come back to it. This is what I think is so important to think about. We're here to raise money. If you take this, you might as well not do it. If you're not going to follow these steps, or at least put these things in place to make money with your silent auction, you're better off not to do it. You're better off just to make to not waste the time, spend the money calling donors and getting them to pre-commit to what they're going to do in a fund of need.
100%.
Truly, I mean that. But these are ways that you can go and make money, turn this thing from being a time suck to being a revenue generator. Yeah. Here's how you can use consignment. You're not going to be able to go get 50 people or 15 or 10 people to donate some kind of trip or experience at zero cost. It's not going to happen. Okay. It's just not. And if anybody here does, I stand corrected. There is somebody, but the majority of you aren't going to make it happen. It's just not going to do it. So there's just, there's too many events out there, but this is a way that you can have something that people want. People want to go places, they want to do stuff, but you can't have 15 or 25. We just talked about it in our live auction. Okay. So if you're having 15 or 25 items in your, you can't do that because you don't want to spend that much time, because we have a golden hour of fundraising. So we're going to put it in our silent auction. But if we use things like starting bid, so if only one person bids, we're making money. Do not ever take consignment and start it at the minimum price, at the reserve price. Do not do that. It could end up costing you money.
It could end up costing you money. And
yeah, well, literally, we've had somebody call and they made $5 on something. We're like, why did you sell that? Yeah. Well, we just didn't think about it. Okay. Well, I want you to think about it. You can add more than 20%. We're saying the minimum that you want to do is 20%. Maybe you do 25 or 30%. That's fine. That's up to you and whatever you do. We've got a client. We've got a client. They mark their different deal, but they mark theirs up. What is it? 70%?
Sure.
60, 70%. And that's the starting bid.
Yeah.
But if you put it 20%, let's just use that for an example. And then you set your bidding increments with an instant win at the top. So if it cost you $2,000, you got an instant win of $5,000. And because we want you to
how much? Bidding increments of how much on that one? On that
$2,100. I would start at $100. So 2,400.
Okay.
So it's going to be 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, $3,000.
So check this out. So we've got an item that's $19.95, for instance, and 20% throws the number, if you use a true percentage, at $21.94. So we're suggesting don't make it, it needs to be a more quantifiable figure, like we were talking about just a few minutes ago, right? So it's like, don't make it $21.97.
Well, it's $23.94 actually, bro.
Yeah, pardon me, but don't make it. We're really losing it on the math today. Sorry, everybody, but you get my point, right? So we don't want to opening bid at $23.94. Let's make it $2,400. Let's make it just a quantifiable figure that folks can just understand and grasp quickly. That's the idea.
Yeah. So 2,400, round up to an even number, $100 bidding increments.
Boom.
And an instant win of $5,000. If somebody hits $5,000, that's okay. But more than likely what they're going to do, they're going to go up and say, well, it's $5,000, but I can buy it for 2,500 right here. 25. Yeah. Somebody else does. It's only 100 more. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Now here's how consignment can really make you money.
I wanted you to say this. Because
let's just say it stops at 3,500. Mm-hmm. We talked about this last week. We're going to talk about it again. You got $3,500 was your top bidder. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to pick some names out of here. So Amber, you're at 3,500. Andy is at 3,400. And Barbara was at 3,300.
Yep.
All this information, it's either on your sheets or it's available on the software. Everything you can find out. So I'm going to take those numbers. Obviously, Amber won it at $3,500. That one's done. Okay. We made $1,000, we made $1,500 on that deal. I'm going to go get Mark. Mark is just a really personable guy. He loves getting out and talking to everybody. And he's one of our volunteers, and his job, he's going to do that. And I say, okay, Andy's at 3,400 and Barbara's at 3,300.
Yep.
Andy's at table number 15. Barbara's at table 26. He goes, got it. Walks out there, takes a little sheet, goes out there and goes, hey, Andy, I just want to let you know you didn't win, but we've got another one of these items at your bid at 3,400. You bid 34. Are you good there? And we'll sell it to you for 3,400 too, because it's going to show on his software that he didn't win. And Andy goes, yeah, I'll stick at 3,400. Then he goes over to Barbara. Hey, Barbara, you bid 3,300. We did this. Would you just go ahead and stick at your bid $3,300 and win this? And Barbara goes, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So we just made basically $4,500, $4,000.
It's 42. Yeah.
$4,200 net money to our bottom line off of one item.
Yep.
One item.
Exactly.
It's okay. If Andy says no and I go to Barbara and Barbara says yes, it's okay because I've still sold it twice. That's how the power of consignment and silent auction works.
Can't typically do that with a donated item, of course.
Here's the second thing that does. We take an item that, and I use this all the time. I always say Iceland because it's something people don't really think about, and it's actually closer than Europe. But we put Iceland in there because I've seen this happen at multiple events, and we put our starting bid because we go, I don't know if anybody's going to do Iceland, but we're going to find out because that just sounds kind of cool. Maybe, or I heard that Becky was talking about going to Iceland, so maybe we put it in there. Maybe she'll buy it. Sure enough, Becky goes and hits the button and says, we were going to go anyway, click and buy it.
Yep.
Or somebody that you don't even know, somebody that showed up who said, wow, Iceland looks fun.
My neighbor just went
Click
there.
on the deal, buy the trip, and now you've done two things. One, you've engaged a donor with something that they wanted. Number two, you've identified a new donor that has a giving capacity of more than $5,000.
Jason, can I ask, yeah. Can I ask you a question as well?
Mm-hmm.
Follow up.
Yeah.
What does it cost to put an item like that in your event?
That item, I think ours is
no.
What does it cost to put in?
Nothing. Oh, it costs nothing. Because it's front. So if nobody bids on it, nobody clicks on it.
Costs you nothing.
You didn't lose anything.
No time. You printed off a poster. You had bid sheets. You had to upload it on your software.
Mm-hmm.
You put a QR code poster.
It did cost you time. I mean, it cost, it's back to that cost of time and effort that we talked about.
Yep.
But the risk to reward.
What's the upside?
You know,
What's the
I'm putting
upside?
something that we could make $1,000 or $5,000 on
Yep.
versus something that we're going to make $15 on.
Yep.
Which one do you want to do?
I talked to an organization. We do have to go back to number 5. I talked to an organization this week that had never heard about consignment before. So this is actually becoming more and more prevalent in our world. And I looked at their auction site and basically their announcement sheet, and it's a Paris themed event, which, okay, yeah, fine. If any one of our donors or parents has access to a home in Paris, we'd love to use that in our auction. And back to Jason's point, the onset of number 6 was, what's the likelihood that someone has a place in Paris that they could sell at the event? It's not super duper likely. You know what I mean? So oh, difficult to hear. Sorry. Anyway, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it said Trevor is very difficult to hear. Anyway, but yeah, that's the point. So you have access with these different consignment companies, ours being one of them. You have access to these really cool destinations that you typically won't have access to if you're just speaking to your committee, your board, your volunteers, right? You still want their stuff. Fantastic. Use it. Some of the stuff's really cool and really high value. Typically can only sell it once, but that's fine. You know, there's just you can create a nice dichotomy of all the above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lori,
Yeah.
Lori, let me answer that for you. Yes, I would go at their bid. The reason is
that's where they're at.
It is a 50-50 deal that they're going to move up a couple of $100. 50.
Unless they were in the restroom, they didn't go up to $3,500 for a reason, probably as well. You know,
but I'm just telling, it's even in the live auction when we start selling multiples, it's 50-50 that they'll do it. Because somebody will say, hey, I sold it to Trevor for $5,000. Mark, you were at $4,500. If you just come up $500 more and we'll sell it twice, it's 50-50 that Mark does it. It just is. Yeah. But if I sell it to both of them for $4,500 in the live auction, well, he's going to say yes 99% of the time. Your buyer will do it at their last bid 99% of the time. They'll say yes.
You coined this term, meet them where they're at.
Yep.
Meet them where they're at. Super
because you're not asking them to do, they've already done it, and they're like, well,
you're not ostracizing the winning bidder at $3,500.
Now they may say no. They may say no. I didn't get it
right.
because I'm going to buy something in live auction, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you're just giving yourself an opportunity because you said you did. You know, you were previously at 3,400. Are you still good at that same price? Yeah, sure. So this is number 5, Becky. Thank you for catching on this because this is really, really important. Mark, you want to talk about this one?
Valuable real estate.
Sure. Yeah. You want your silent auction to be in a high traffic area. Don't put it off in a room on the side where people purposely have to go find it. Put it out where it's easy to find and where, you know, if you can, where people have to walk by it to get to the bar or to get to the tables or whatever it is. And also this goes to how you place them on the tables. You don't want to overcrowd your tables. If you're using 6-foot tables, I'd say no more than 5 or 6 items on a table. Use height. You can put, you know, different stands and things to elevate things on the table, make them stand out more. That always looks really nice. We've got some organizations we work with that they don't use bid sheets. Everything's on the phone. And so when you walk around their silent auction items, there's elevated platforms, got a nice cover over them, and then the items on there, and it's got a small card with, you know, the title of the item and the starting bid and the bid increment. And you know, it just looks really, really elegant, really, really nice.
Love that. What do you think about Lacey's comment about having it next to the open bar?
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
I've got a story to tell about that.
High traffic.
So this was an event probably about 5 years ago, and they did a vacation station. They had like 10 trips, and they were trying to figure out where to put them because they had the silent auction another part. So they set this vacation station up kind of in the back, but it was right next to a bar. So literally, if you imagine, here's the bar, here's the line of people lined it up, sit there to get a drink. They all had to walk by this table with all these items, and they had a volunteer sitting there going, Why, this is right here. Would you like to bid on ours while you're waiting? Would you like to take a look at one of these? They sold 11 trips.
Yeah.
11. The cheapest trip they sold was $8,500.
Speak to the efficacy of having someone there that can help folks manage bids mobily. Speak to the volunteers and things of that nature, just to make it seamless for folks if they're having any difficulty or any questions.
I think that it is imperative, because if you have somebody there, because if they have any doubt, if there's a hesitation, typically the answer is no.
Mm-hmm. Because they didn't know enough.
Because they're not really sure.
Yeah.
What we found is when somebody is there to help them KNOW, know more, then they say YES, and the answer is yes. Because they'll look and they'll go, well, I'm not sure. Is airfare included on this? No, airfare is not included on this, but you do get this, this, and this. Wow.
Scan
That's
this
pretty
QR
cool.
code poster with your phone.
Yeah.
You can see even more information. You can make a bid right here where you check. Good stuff.
All those things. Or somebody goes, I want to bid on this, but I'm really not sure. Let me show you how. And you have somebody with a little sash on that says volunteer. Okay. I think that's really important.
Yep.
Because then I don't have to guess that I'm asking somebody that works there. I don't look, because a lot of times, you go to this formal thing and the volunteers look just like
for sure
everybody else, and you don't know who's who. But
yeah.
I see somebody that's got a sash that says, I'm here to help, or volunteer. They go, hey, I just want to do that. And the volunteer walks over and says, are you thinking about going to Italy? It's a great trip. Yeah. What can I help you with? Well, I didn't find it on my device right here. Well, here it is right here. Let me show you. Oh, where it is. Okay. So just go ahead and push that. And there you go, put your bid in. They go, boom. Next thing you know, they bid on it. I've seen it happen time and time again. And, they're just people. I mean, just because they're sitting there looking at it. And one of the things that I see, like we said, silent auction, we sold 11 items, average price, or the lowest priced item was $8,500. Excuse me. And what we got everybody to understand is it wasn't trips that they were buying, because a lot of the staff and volunteers were like, well, I could never pay $15,000 for a trip. And I get it. But the people that come to this event can, and they will, and they want to.
Absolutely.
So
that's a huge point. A lot of times we let the committee or the board, we let them make those decisions based on their own checkbook and what they would do. You got to strip that down, tear down those walls.
I would caution you, though. This is something I would say it's a cautionary tale. In that scenario I just gave, it worked out where they split it up and they had the different deals and it worked out. But remember, there are some people that will never go to that bar because they're going to go to the other bar.
Sure.
So you need to have the silent auction there, and so if you have two bars on each side and the silent auction in the middle, where everybody's going to go, because that's where people are going to congregate, because people want to go congregate. They always do. Every time they congregate in the bar.
I've heard you say this a lot, Mark. High traffic areas. I think it's huge.
Yeah.
Not right. Sure. Not right as they walk past it. Not right past check-in.
Right.
You can sell raffle tickets past check-in. You can, give people previews. Sure. You can show them something. Say, hey, make sure that you get this. The silent auction's right in here, and make sure you go see this or whatever. But people are going right straight to the bar. They're going to find their table, find the bar and probably in that order, because they're going to set their purse, their coat, whatever they've got. If they haven't had a coat check, they're going to set their pocketbook, find their place, set it down, and they're going to the bar to get something to drink. And, everybody here knows it because you guys watch all this stuff, and that's just what people do.
Love it.
Holy cow, we got 10 minutes and one more item to get, and then we got to give some stuff away.
Oh, geez. Well, you skipped.
Can you imagine that? Number 7. The last and final one, and I think this is one that
we're going by prime numbers. We're going 5 to 7.
Tie your mission to your silent auction.
Love that.
So
embellish.
I believe in mission first fundraising, not kind of back what Becky, you were, I think, mentioned said, well, my executive director wants something that is inclusive to everybody. I would respectfully disagree and say there's other things that they can do to do this, but we're here to raise money for our mission. We have a mission to fund, and this is what our goal is, and this is how we're going to get it done. Yep. And I would have somebody, and we talked about this a little bit, where we had somebody at an event I did out in California, and they had brought an MC in, and all that MC did, he MC'd the event, but during this time when people were having cocktails, he was walking around every item and talking about it.
So smart.
And when he would do that, he would say, "Oh my gosh, if we do this, we can send." It was for a Boy Scouts deal. If next person that bids on this, that means we're going to be able to send 2 scouts to camp. You know, it was that kind of deal,
So
tying it to
good.
the mission,
So
really
good.
doing that.
Mhm.
I really would encourage that.
attention.
And when I say he's talking about it, I don't mean somebody going, "Ladies and gentlemen, item number 27.
The HG free webinar series is
If
recorded
you
from
just
the
want to bid on this
YCR.
one more time, we'll be able to send 2 campers to scout." Nobody's going to hear it. Nobody's going to care.
Mhm.
Okay. It's got to, I mean, you know, you got to,
excitement.
this is kind of excitement time and doing it
Yep.
to really, you know, think Barnum and Bailey, you know, ringmaster kind of thing.
Mhm.
This is time for, you know, to have that person get up there and really be loud and proud and get after it. So I think keeping your mission forward, keeping that out front, everything that you do, talking about your mission
good.
at the silent auction, putting
So
up
good.
a little sign behind, you know, he's talking about having that. Maybe you put a sign on because it's up against a wall, and a deal on the wall. It says, you know, "Thank you for bidding on our silent auction to help us do this."
Mhm.
Talk about what it is. You're just trying to reiterate over and over and over again about why you're there, because we want people to give from their heart, not from, well, that's a really good deal.
Can you sell the real estate that the silent auction is being displayed on? Gentlemen, can you sell that real estate? Can that real estate be underwritten? Can it be sponsored?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Everything can be underwritten. So
I love that sign that you just talked about. It could be, "Thank you for supporting the silent auction, brought to you by,"
yeah,
you know. I think
you
it's a
know,
great
and
idea.
because, you know, when
underutilized.
your bids are will help us to send 50 kids to camp this year, whatever your mission is, and you've got to tie that back to your mission to do that. I just want you to think about, as you're going through this, that's what this is about. As you're soliciting donations, that needs to be what you're doing. "Hey, we're having a fundraiser. Could you kick something in?" No, we're not doing that. We're trying to fund to send 150 kids to camp this year, and it costs $1,000 to send every kid. We need to raise 150,000. I'm asking,
go.
do you have something that you would be willing to we could put in our silent auction to help us generate that money? Back to the whole ask. Mission first fundraising, mission first, keeping that up front.
Love it.
Okay, we got like 3 minutes for questions, and then we're going to give some stuff away.
Last episode, shut the ballroom doors for the first half hour. If we have coat check, would you still recommend that to help the crowd stay mobile? Very good question, Taylor. You guys see that question? I think you had mentioned last episode to shut the ballroom doors for the first half hour.
Well, it depends on your layout. I mean, I think
Sure.
it totally depends on the setup of where you're having your event. I did an event where they could do that. They had a really big, wide hallway where they had the bars at each end, and to one side they had the doors open to the a very small ballroom, and that's where they had the silent auction. So it was all opened up. Then they shut those doors when that ended, and then they opened up the doors to the ballroom for everybody to go in. So that's really, you know, you start doing it. But what you can do is start fencing people in. You know, I think, gosh, you know, Taylor, I'd have to see the layout to give you any kind of thoughts on it. But I really think that you want to keep people packed together as much as you can. I like, you know, they don't need to be spread out too much. Packed together. Everybody says, "Oh my gosh," you know, when it's kind of that deal, the temperature goes up a couple of degrees. That's where it needs to be, because they're going to bump into each other, because it gives that energy of something happening, something's excitement, and they're looking around these items, and we want to have competition. I don't want everybody to go home with a silent auction item. I want people missing out. I want people to miss out, and because that's trying to drive those bids up, because we want to help these kids. We want to, you know, spend more. And that's whenever when you have good stuff, people give more for it. The better, you know, packaging it up, tying all those things together. Any other questions about silent auction?
Stuff. Okay, cool. Thanks, Taylor. Awesome. Oh, good. Yeah, Jay, you're talking with Taylor next week. Perfect. Yeah. Good.
You know, before we go, I just want to say, doing this for 100 episodes, some of you guys have literally almost been to all of them. And I just, from the bottom of our hearts, we're so grateful and thankful. You know, we get to hear people tell us, we've done it long enough now that we get to hear people like Becky and, you know, come back and say, "Hey, we did some stuff and we used some of this stuff and it helped us raise more money and we broke some records." We made friends.
We've made friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
through
And
this.
so
It's been so good.
we just feel so privileged that y'all continue doing this. And so we look forward to do another couple of hundred of them
I think it's
and
cool.
keep on going. So
Yeah, it
thank
hasn't
you
really
so
sunk
much.
in. It's quite the milestone.
Yeah, it is.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Super fun. We've had some amazing guests. Mark, thanks again a ton, brother.
All right, yeah.
Mark's driven the ship for us when we've been gone and all that stuff. Hey, yeah, super fun.
Don't forget,
Thank
next
you,
week we've got a really special guest. You'll get the invite out.
Oh yeah, Lori.
And we're going to be talking
Cool.
about how to go make a big ask.
Woo!
And it's
a
pretty
different
cool.
approach.
Yeah,
A different approach
talking
to the,
about
we've
how
had
to
the big
approach
ass
Fortune
conversation.
500 donations.
Yeah, and if you're small potatoes,
It doesn't
don't
doesn't
worry.
matter.
Use
And
the
what we're-
tools.
the
Come
point's gonna
join
be-
us and use the tools. Yeah.
The point, and the point I want to make to you, because we had her on a our podcast, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. They're talking about very small nonprofits that are making significant, receiving significant donations from these
Yep.
Fortune 500 because of the way they positioned it.
Hey,
So-
small nonprofits can raise a lot of money.
You sure can.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Trevor-
HGA Bucks.
Tell them about it?
it? Oh gosh, I'm a little nervous.
Okay.
Well, it's a new concept.
Yeah,
HGA
something brand new.
Bucks. HGA Bucks. So everyone that and thank you, Becky. Beautiful. Appreciate that. And thank you, Julie. And thank you, everyone else. Everyone that was in attendance today live is going to receive HGA Bucks from us to use at their next event. So it's going to be a situation where if you use, let's say, one item and it sells at your event, we're going to give you 100 HGA Bucks. That will, of course, lessen the cost of that item. So it's basically money to use to raise money at your next event. So think about how much you can raise with the item at your next event. So, explaining it. Yeah.
Well, we're because it's our 100th deal. We're going to give everybody here.
Everyone gets 100 to start.
Everybody
Yeah.
gets $100 to start with, and you can, if
Yeah.
your event's next week, fine, you can use the next one. And
Yeah.
then every time you sell an item,
Yeah.
no matter what, if you sell 5 items, you'll get $500 HGA Bucks to
Yeah.
use in your next event. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just frequent flyer miles. Kind of think of it that way. It's a way that we can give back, and we feel very privileged to work in this space, to work with you all, and to help you guys fund your great missions. So
Cool,
yep.
Calvin.
So there you go, Calvin. Your next event, you got $100.
Just let us know when to make the checkout
dollars in
too.
HGA Bucks to use. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, sure.
All right. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Hey, everybody, email us. Jason at HGAfundraising.com, Mark at HGAfundraising.com, Trevor at HGAfundraising.com. Any questions about the HGA Bucks? Obviously, it's going to go out with the recording on Monday. So details about that. But if you're chomping at the bit and you got an event on February 23rd and you want to know how to use it right away, reach out to us and we'll help you and we'll make good on that promise. And as Jason said, it means a ton to us week in and week out to see all these names new, old names that become friends. And can't wait to do it again next week and 100 more of these. So thanks everyone so much for tuning in and listen to us, ramble for an hour every week. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Talk about the
All
weather.
Hey,
All right,
well,
everybody.
hope to see you next week, and we'll talk about how to raise a bunch more money. Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
You guys
everybody.
have a
All
great
right.
week.
Love
Take
you
care.
guys. Thanks for everything.
Have a great
All right.
week, everyone.
Bye now.